My next guest is somebody that I met looking for people to help me grow my business, actually, lead gen. He's in the Wells area across the pond, and he's a kind young man. And we're going to have a great conversation about relationships, communication, leadership. Who you being sounds familiar, right? That's what I like to talk about, and I like to bring in people that not only live it and breathe it, but are champions about how to show up. And I want to give special thanks to my sponsor, InterraWorks, one of the top productivity companies in the world. Whether you're a leader or you're a team looking for someone to help you not only get organized, but get really clean and clear with your language and your relationships. InterraWorks.com. They're based in Austin and in Nashville. So I hope you enjoy my conversation with Scott Hennessy. Good morning, everyone. This is Greg Aden for another edition of Servant Leadership Podcast. And today I have a special guest all the way from the other side of the pond. We'll get to Scott and where he's from and what time it is there. But I know it's at least 8 hours, maybe 9 hours later. So thank you, Scott, for staying up late. So Scott, before we get into your why, just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and what do you do?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm from a small town in South Wales called Caerphilly, or otherwise known as a small place called Oakdale. It's like a really nice kind of village in the South Wales valleys. It's kind of away from the city. It's a nice green area, and the community are really lovely people. And that's one of the best things about being Welsh is that the community is so strong. And it's kind of like if you've got no milk in your house, you can just pop next door, knock on the door, and be like, "Do you have some milk?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure."
The
So
old
that's
days.
yeah, yeah. So that's where I grew up. Really nice upbringing,
But
beautiful
what
parents.
what main town would our listeners know of, even if they haven't been over to your country yet?
Cardiff is probably the closest area they'll recognise, which is the capital of Wales.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. And then how far are you from London?
Oh, probably, yeah, probably 2 hours on the train.
Okay,
So
all
it's
right,
like west to east. Yeah.
terrific. Enough about geography. Tell us what do you do when you're not working out and spending time with your friends?
I devote a lot of my time to my family and my girlfriend. Blessed to be with her. She's amazing. Walked into my life probably a year and a half ago. And I spend most of my time with her, doing the couple things, dinner dates and going out for walks and talking about our future, that kind of thing, which is always great. Aside from that, I like to work out. I like to play squash a lot. I'm a big follower of Liverpool Football Club.
Which one's that?
Yeah, Liverpool. So they're based up in like the north of England, kind of.
Right.
Not a great season so far, but I'm sure that'll change.
Yes.
But yeah, man, that's me. And I do a lot of reading. I love watching YouTube, especially documentaries and podcasters. And I'm just a lifelong learner. That's who I really am.
So can we give your girlfriend of a year and a half a name?
We can. Her name is Rosie
Oh,
Hopkins.
hello, Rosie Hopkins.
Sure
Thank you for making this young man happy and being a nice, kind partner for him at least this year, this part of your journey in life. So what do you do? And tell us a little about why you decided to do what you do.
Oh man, I have to bring you back to when I was like 21, or even a little bit before that. So I was at Swansea University, which is like an hour from Cardiff, and I went to study business management with the view of becoming this really successful business person, that has a nice suit on, travels the world. That's really what I wanted to do in life. And I was at university, and I quickly found out I liked the social side of it more than the academic side. And what I mean by that is I used to like going to the pub. I used to like hanging out with people. And because of that, looking back, that's why I didn't actually get my degree from Swansea in the end. So came to a bit of a crossroads. At the time, I was dating this girl from America, and we'd been together for like 2 years of that sort of 4-year journey in uni. And it came to the point where she had to go back to the US. She was from Chicago and I was in Wales. So
Mm.
I had a choice to make, right? I was like, do I just up sticks, go for the American dream, like set up there? Or do I stay in the UK and do something with business or do something around business? So yeah, I tried to get a lot of jobs in America, man. I went for a couple interviews, like 4 or 5 different companies. They all went well, and the old adage, we'll get back to you, right?
So did you go to America for these interviews, or did you do it overseas?
No, I flew to Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, I did a couple there, and then we drove across to Michigan, did a couple there. They're all like enterprise executive, account executive roles, sales.
You could have been in one of the greatest Midwest cities in our country, Chicago. Were any of the no's, or we'll get back to you because you didn't have the degree, or was that a showstopper at all, or was that just something that never came up?
I never really asked the question, and probably in hindsight, it might be worth asking. But I think, man, I was 21, I was
Sure.
very young. Maybe I didn't crush the interview like I thought I did. And actually, maybe it was God's way of just saying to me, look, this isn't the right stage for you right now.
So you decided not to put down your root. I think I heard you say you just decided to up sticks. Is that what you said?
Yeah, to
What
upstick.
the heck does that mean?
Maybe it's a British thing. When we say upsticks, it means like throw everything out and just go for something.
Ah, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Learn
So
learn a new one.
yeah, and I think that's been a reflection of my life, really. When I see opportunities, I don't really think about them. I just give everything to those opportunities, and whatever comes of it, comes of it.
Yeah. Well, I love that part of you because there's really only one person or one being that is going to know what's going to happen. And, I don't know what your relationship is with him or them, but, yeah, it's called the almighty trust. And,
Mm.
but here's my thought. If you know it's something that's going to benefit not just you, but other people, what do you think your chances are of enjoying that choice? Tell me your thoughts on that.
Oh, massively. I mean, your impact not only has an effect on your closest, but on the wider community, right? Like when
Yeah.
what I work with a lot of coaches, a lot of advisors and consultants, and it's really simple just to be seen as someone that just generates high quality conversations, which is what I do. But when you peel back the layers, Greg, and you think about the impact when those people sign up with those coaches and consultants on their own life, the way they see the world, their family, their kids, their communities,
Yeah.
I might have played a very small part in that, but the actual impact is exponential. And that's something that I love. And that's one of the reasons why I wake up every day. I just love being a part of that.
The impact that you mentioned, you said exponential, and I have this little um, simple diagram that I ask some of my clients to do. Is I ask them to draw a heart in the middle of a circle, and I tell them that's you. Then how you show up in the world. I'll just simplify it by show up in the world impacts everyone in that immediate circle. And in your case, it could be parents, friends, certainly Rosie, definitely your clients' clients, but those immediate impacts. And then you draw a circle around that other circle and realize this is where your statement came from. You don't really know what's happening outside of that other circle, but you know that you have an impact and you can inspire and influence those in your circle. And you just know then it's got to be positive if they carry it forward. So um, yeah, great work that you're doing. Whether you work with coaches or consultants or not, tell us more about why you love what you do and what would you like to do differently if you had a chance to do something differently.
Wow, that's a good question. I love what I do because, I've mentioned the impact, but I've been on the bad side of life a lot of times. I've been through breakups. I've been through financial troubles. I've been through a lot of things, man, mental health when I was growing up. And there's something about coaching, and there's something about personal development that really created the change and who I really am today. And there's several people I have to attest to for this. Number one, Peter McCammon, incredible, incredible guy. I love him with all my heart. And Ragav Parkash, equally amazing. Both men I look up to with love and leadership, and they're just amazing influences. And what I've really learned is, well, there's two real things when I think about it. It's not me versus the world. It's me versus me.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that really sunk in because we like.
What does that mean to you? Me versus me. It's not me against the world, which could be very easily labeled as victim. But tell us more about your theory behind me versus me. And
yeah. So throughout my life, and I'm sure for many people tuning in and watching this or listening to this, it's very easy to blame outside circumstances for whatever happens in our life, right? The most common one in Wales is the weather, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not going out because it's raining for the 34th day in a row, right? It's the weather. I can't do this because of this. I can't go out and do this because of X, Y, Z. And that's not really the issue, right? The issue is ourselves. And the problem is how we think. And where do our thoughts come from? What are thoughts, right? Do we apply energy to some thoughts rather than others? And this is what I mean by me versus me, because I can go out and achieve anything that I want to. I can create from a place, from love, from certainty, from anything I want. But it's me stopping me from going out and doing that if I'm having the same thoughts, carrying unhelpful stories, carrying judgments, carrying narratives that don't serve me.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by me versus me. From my experience, my biggest battle has always been myself, not the world around me.
Well, I believe anyone listening to this is saying, wow, that's on point. That's deep. But at the same time, it's always been me versus me, unless you're a little kid and dependent on parents, etc. But it's the person that you look at every morning, as I did preparing for this. I worked out this morning and I said, you got this. I mean, I do this for a living, but every single interview, every single conversation is different.
Yeah.
How do you want to show up for self? Period. And when you decide you're going to be powerful or influential or impactful, then the rest of your body says, let's go.
I think in even some of our earlier conversations, we talked about where leadership really begins. And that's really what I wanted to ask you and get your insight around too, is where does leadership really start?
My humble opinion, Scott, it starts from the heart. We can manifest anything in our head, but the desire, the why is coming from the heart. Why is this relationship important to me? Why is this conference that I'm going to speak at important to me? Why are these things I'm sharing with another human being important? But it also starts, I believe, as a good coach, it's not about me. Just like parenting, it's not about you. It's about your kids. You've got to be right first. But then when you're right, and then you start to share information, but it always, for me, it comes from a place of curiosity. I can't tell someone how to be a better leader or tell someone how to be a better vice president or director of this or that. I have to ask them what are their barriers? What are their roadblocks? And I don't immediately say, I'm going to fix this. As soon as they say, well, it's Jane or it's Jim, they are the roadblock. Because at the end of the day, Jane and Jim aren't my clients. You are. So what kind of relationship do you want with Jane? I don't like Jane. She's you know what? No. You're going to work with her. So what kind of relationship do you want? What kind of things are you going to accept from her? And what kind of things do you have the courage to ask her to shift? Now, remember too, she's got to be looking at this information going, is this going to help me? And so it starts with curiosity. Go ahead.
No, I was just about to say it reminds me of Steve Chandler's work. And something I was reading this morning um, was that we all have systems that we carry. And systems can be subconsciously created or they can be consciously created. But the quality of the systems that we run in our life, so in this context, we're talking about making a choice, that could be a subconscious way of making a choice. It's a system, yep. Right? Or, and for a lot of people, they probably don't do this, but this is why coaching can be so valuable, is actually stepping into that place of creation and creating a system where you can consciously create. That's the beautiful thing about coaching. And it links back to being a leader and who you're being. And it starts with the heart and what you want in life.
Who are you being? One of my favorite questions or statements, frankly. And by the way, shout out Steve Chandler. He is one of the greats, just simply brilliant.
Yeah.
And yes.
No, I was just going to share, my bad, Greg. There's the book I just finished of Steve Chandler's.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Shift the world. Interesting language.
Choices. And the systems that we develop for ourselves, we know when we look in the mirror or we ask these really difficult questions. How am I doing? I don't know. Whatever it is, the possibilities don't exist if you're not willing to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And if you come from a place of curiosity, and there's got to be empathy. Where is Scott coming from as I'm asking him this question? How might he answer this? I might hit a nerve, or I might go, or he might say, what I like. That's a good question, Greg. And you might not even answer it, but at least it's out there.
Yeah.
But you can't judge and demand. That's, by the way, anybody listening to this, if you think you're a leader, you know that. You can't point and expect. You can't point and demand. You can't judge and then walk over there and say, hey, did you get the report done? No, because they're not finishing wondering why you're an asshole.
Yeah. And I think we carry a lot more judgments than we think that we do,
Amen. And if we know we do, ask for help. You don't have to hire a coach. Just talk with your friends, the ones that will be honest with you. And by the way, if you're the people you're hanging around, ladies and gentlemen, if they're not going to be honest with you when you need help, or they're not going to be honest with you when you're asking for opinions without judgment, how do you call them a friend? That might be a whole nother episode, but for the love of God, it's okay to let relationships go that aren't serving you. And I say that publicly all the time. And I don't mean discard people because they're not like you. Discard people because the relationship isn't serving you or your family or the things you really love. Anyway, that's just something I'm really focused on. Me versus me. You said there were one other thing that you think about when you're creating yourself and helping clients or creating relationships. What was that?
So we talked about me versus me, not me versus the world. I mean, there's a ton of stuff we could go into here, but it's more important how we respond to things in life rather than what actually happens to us itself. Now, that was a big, big, big learning for me. Maybe one of the most significant in my life.
How do we respond to things? Yeah.
I guess this is the work you do with a lot of leaders too, right?
Yeah. Again, I know how I would respond to your comment, but tell me how has it impacted your life? How has it impacted your world and your relationships and perhaps your work?
Yeah. Well, when things happen I'll talk from the context of myself. When things happen to me in life, I know that I don't have to emotionally respond to begin with. Now, growing up, I was always an emotional person. I still carry that emotion, and I'm proud to be emotional. But when things happen to me that, let's say, are not beneficial, right? I have the choice. There's a space, right? And this is what I loved about your webinar when I joined the other week. I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head, but
Viktor Frankl.
that's right. Yeah, that stuck with me for days, man. Like the the space that we have between having something happen to us and a response, the stimulus, like that's powerful. And in my own life, I mean, previously I've always like lashed out or acted out, or my behavior was not consistent with who I really am as a leader, as a person, as a son, a boyfriend. But just knowing that I have a choice initially of how I respond to things has cleared up probably 80% of all the challenges I've ever had.
Well, you have a choice, then you have the space. The space could be 2 minutes, could be a week, could be a month before you respond. And how you respond could significantly impact the relationship, whether you're in the wrong or just responding from someone that's been a dick.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the choice, as you said, how do we respond to things? And the underlying thing that we're actually discussing is when we're triggered.
Mm.
And when we get triggered, it's usually not the person who's triggering us. It's our own stuff. It's our upbringing. It's a relationship. It's the last person we dated. It's the kid across the street. And now my kid's acting like that. And the trigger isn't them. It's how you respond to it because of something else that you've allowed yourself to carry around.
Yeah.
And again, your backpack, I don't care how big you are, there's only so much stuff you can put in your backpack.
You're
And
right.
I ask my clients, first of all, and I love your comment on this. Why are you carrying everyone else's shit in your backpack? Take inventory of it. So every once in a while, and only carry your stuff. Now, I'm not talking about your kids' things on a hike. I'm talking about life.
Oh yeah. You hit on something so important there where, and I'm sure you've had this experience too, but sometimes that we're so resistant. We keep pushing and resisting. And, what would happen if you just surrendered? What would happen to your life if you just allowed it to happen? I'll give an example. I'm potentially going to work with a new client next week. And he, I won't mention the company or the name, but he was very insistent on understanding every single nuance about who I am as a person, what my company does, who I work with, just very, very, he's a very analytical and detailed person. And, I'm going to have the conversation with him and say, look, this is who I am. This is what I do. But I'm not gonna bow down to demands, right? Because this is a partnership. This isn't just me serving you. This is a co-created space where, yes, I do serve you, but you also serve yourself. So not being so resistant and not being so pushy and just actually letting it go and let it run. And if he doesn't decide to work with me, I'm totally cool with that.
Yeah. Letting go, surrendering, the word you used, it's not you're giving up. There's only so many things that we can do really well in our life. There's only so many relationships that we can really lean into on a regular basis. I don't care how many impressions you have or how many followers you have, how many influences you have. Those aren't relationships.
Yeah.
Those are just points of interest, and people are doing more of it, every day. God bless them. But all I can do is help the person understand what it is they want to achieve, how they're going to get there, and when it starts to feel good, what's going now? What's shift? What shift did you have? And a lot of it is, and it's so funny you're bringing this up because I have a kid and I coach. He's part of a 10-person team. He loves to be late. He knows, but the people he reports to allow it.
Mm.
And
Mm.
and you have to remind him, because I don't care if it's the time and it's late, it's late. 2 minutes is late. 4 minutes is late. A week is late. I don't care. So what do you, and again, this is real simple. I'd love for your 32-year-old response. If you know you're going to be late, Scott, what do you do?
I let someone know that I'm going to be.
Thank you. I mean, it, yeah. And people listening to this might say, well, maybe this kid doesn't respect you. Well, I'll take that. And he doesn't respect himself.
Yeah. I mean, there's a story I can share quickly. When I was 16 years old, the legal drinking age in the UK is 18, but high school kids, right? And my mother was quite strict on curfews. And I know it came, well, now I know, but it came from a place of love, right? She didn't want me out, drinking and getting into parties and stuff, but teenagers, right?
Yeah.
And I always remember it's 11 o'clock, right? It's 11 o'clock, don't be late. And of course, I was always late. And, but now that I look back on it, and it's something that we've talked about even of ourselves. It's agreements versus expectations, like classic Steve Chandler.
Yeah.
If you have an agreement, be your word. Like, how powerful is that? Like, for the listeners listening in or watching this, where can you be your word more in life? And what impact will that create? And that's the way that I built my business, just being my word. If I say I'm going to deliver something for you in a time frame, you best believe that I'll do it, because I have nothing else. All I have is my word.
Well, you're saying something that every human being has, and it's irrefutable. If nothing else, that's all we have is what we say and where it comes from. Is it coming from a place of ego? Is it coming from a place of spirit? Is it coming from a place of kindness or judgment? Yeah, you have your word. And before you speak it, back to Viktor Frankl, before you might be triggered, but before you respond, what is it that you really want to say? And I've coached many, many people over the past 14 years. And I say, when you raise your finger, not the middle one, but this one, and you ask, hey, I need a minute. If the person in front of you doesn't allow you to take some space before you respond, ask yourself if that's really someone you want to be in a relationship with. And I'm not talking about husband and wife, because we all know that there's going to be growing pains and challenges in conversations on a daily basis. But really the ones I want you to lean into is when you are triggered by your son or your daughter or your child, before you lash out, before you say something that you're going to regret, because they're going to remember that. And I guarantee you, and I've lived it, Scott, they're going to bring it up later. And it's going to be funny, but it's not. Because why are they remembering how you showed up as a you-know-what?
Wow.
It's incredible. And my son's 14 and, I'm 63 already. And again, I've said this publicly, I wouldn't recommend having kids at 49, but they both changed my world. And I'm so glad I had them. Scott, what would you say to, and we'll wrap this up after this, but what would you say to someone listening to this and asking themselves, how can I really be a better communicator? What would you give them?
That's a great question, man. The first thing I'll say is don't be so hard on yourself. And if there was one thing I could tell my younger self, it would be that. Don't be so hard on yourself. We are human. We make mistakes. But again, it's much more important how we respond to those mistakes than those mistakes themselves. And language creates. Really look at the language you're using every day. Even if you're joking with yourself, you're like, you look in the mirror and you're like, yeah, I'm a fat guy, whatever. I'm just making that up, right? You might just joke about it, think it's a lot, but subconsciously, your language is creating that for you. You are creating yourself as that. So just really pay attention to the words that you say to yourself and to the people around you, particularly yourself. Because
you had me, you had me at language. And, anybody that follows me knows that it's all about relationships. That's the end goal. but it's who you are, who you're being, what you're saying. And even before you speak, there's tone, there's words, there's timing, and all that isn't an art form because not everyone understands what I just said, but it
Mm.
is. Our language and our timing and how we communicate and the tone is so critical, not only in selling and asking somebody to do something with you or for you,
Mm.
but a proposal. I guarantee you, the woman or the whoever it is, it's a partner, they will remember how they were asked, will you spend the rest of your life with me for the rest of their life? They brag about it to their friends. And it doesn't have to be glorious. It just needs to be meaningful. So why don't we take more time when we ask questions of others than are going to be in our lives? Maybe not all of our life, but a relationship that's going to be important to us. Why don't we prepare more and communicate with more spirit than we do ego? And I have the answer, but I'd love to hear yours before we wrap it up. Why don't we take the time to come from a place of spirit versus ego, Scott?
Because we're always putting ourselves first.
I
Yeah, go ahead.
no. It's so freaking obvious. It's about me. It's always about me. Notice me. No, you're here to serve.
Yeah.
Servant leadership. It's not that difficult if you actually care about other people as much or as more than you do. Yes, it starts with us. We've hammered that all the way through this conversation. But the reason we are you know what's is because we put ourselves first.
And it's even rarer that you come across a salesperson that doesn't, right? And I think that's what makes me unique and a great salesperson is that no conversation is ever about me. It is all about my client. And once they
Well,
feel that and they're in that space, right, that's where the results are.
most people listening to this knows that my 30-year career in hospitality was mostly rooted in sales and or development. And I just told this to a Uber driver in Phoenix the other day. I was there serving a client playing some golf. And I said, I think his name was John or Joe. I said, Joe, I don't know that I've ever sold anybody anything. He goes, what do you mean? You just told me you were in sales and development. I said, I helped somebody buy what they said they wanted.
Mm.
And he just went, shit, I should pull over and write that down. And it might just be I don't want to be a salesperson, but guess what? I was proud of it. Shitload of money, tons of awards. But now I realize I wasn't selling anybody. I was asking them what they wanted. How can I help them achieve what they want? And how can I get them approved or make sure that the sale is going to go through whatever language you want?
Mm.
Just be more curious. Oh, wait a minute. That's like being a great leader. How about cultivating trusting, loving relationships? Oh, wait a minute. That sounds like leadership too.
Yeah.
Come on, salespeople. You know what I'm saying. Get over yourself and make it about them. And even if you can't get Scott to say yes, then you ask this, Scott, it doesn't sound like you're ready to hire me as your leadership coach. Do you know anybody that would like to work with this goofball? I mean, and then what can you say?
Yeah.
You're going to tell me the freaking truth, right?
You're right. You know, you speak so much truth, Greg. You always have, always will. I know that. It's just about like when you're in sales, just a quick bit on sales, like how comfortable can you make that transition of change for someone?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
What
Well said.
experience can you create for someone where they feel so relaxed and so trusted and so listened to that they can be able to make an important decision in their life? And I'm not just talking about coaching or lead gen here. We're talking about mortgages, for instance, life insurance, like things that are so important in our society. Make people feel comfortable, make that experience powerful for them. And you can't go wrong. You're going to miss people, of course, but more times than not, you won't.
And in the shadows of your work are referrals. When you're not even thinking someone's going to call you and say, hey, blank spoke glowingly about you. I'd like to chat with you about you coming in serving my company.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, Scott Hennessy in Cardiff, Wells, thank you so much for giving us your beautiful 32-year-old heart and mind. Thank you for sharing what's inside that beautiful head of yours. And just from one person to another, I'm just going to say this as clean as I can. Keep being you.
Thank you.
And
So thank you, Greg, for holding the space and coming into my life. And who knows what we're going to create in the many years we'll work together. But I know one thing for sure, it's going to be powerful and it's going to be special and beautiful. So the pleasure is all mine. Thank you very much.
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Hennessy. And wow. I know I say this all the time, but I so enjoyed that conversation with Scott Hennessy, a young man, 32 years old, and is actually helping me grow my business. But we had this we just had this relationship right off the bat where I knew he could be trusted. I knew he could be depended on. And, him doing the work through Steve Chandler and reading his books. And obviously I'm a huge Steve Chandler fan, and he's just doing some amazing work and already has impacted my life. And also, as I said in the podcast, when I first met him, it reminded me of what Sam, the son I lost 2 years ago, might look like or be like when he was 32 years old. And, that's just me. I have to say that because that was one of the things that attracted me to Scott. But what a kind young man, what a kind soul, what um, a person that already knows who he wants to be. And I just have to admit, at 32, I had no clue. So, and I want to shout out Fort Lewis College, not my sponsor, but I just want to say I'm proud to be a graduate of Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado. And if you haven't visited Durango, plug for them. It's one of the most wonderful towns in all of Colorado. And again, thank you to InterraWorks for being my sponsor. I really appreciate you and everything you do for my show. And those of you who don't know it, it's InterraWorks.com, one of the top productivity companies in the world. They are certainly one of the better leadership development companies as well. They have large and small and huge companies. They're global. So again, thank you, InterraWorks. And for everyone listening to this, thank you. God bless. And go out and be kind. And if you get triggered, like Viktor Frankl says, take a second, pause, and how are you going to respond? The relationship might depend on that space and the choice that you make before you respond. Thank you and God bless.